Okay, so imagine you're given a job. Build a country. But not on some nice, clean map. No, you have to build it in a vast, rugged, unforgiving wilderness. That was the incredible challenge facing early Canada. And today, we're going to dive into the stories of two absolute titans who didn't just build a nation, they literally had to tame the land first.
So where do you even start? When you're faced with a territory that's this enormous, this wild, you've basically got two massive problems right off the bat. First, how do you get from A to B? And second, what is even there? What are you standing on?
You see, for the first settlers, the landscape itself was the enemy. We're talking dense forests, rough and rocky terrain, and vast distances. And these weren't just minor inconveniences, These were huge, fundamental roadblocks to travel, to trade, and to the very idea of a single connected country.
Well, the answer to this epic challenge came from two totally different directions, from two incredible individuals. On one side, you have Lieutenant Colonel John By. He's the engineer, the guy whose job it was to physically tame the terrain. And on the other side, you have Sir William Logan, the geoscientist, who is tasked with figuring out the nation's hidden potential.
All right, let's jump in with our first titan, the engineer, John By. His mission was nothing short of heroic. Carve a vital artery, a lifeline, right through the heart of that brutal wilderness.
And his solution? The Rideau Canal, finished way back in 1832. Now, this was not just some big ditch. Oh no. This was Canada's first ever mega project. And the genius of it was that instead of finding the landscape, By worked with it. He used this brilliant system of dams and locks to link up natural rivers and lakes into one continuous waterway.
Just think about that number for a second. 202 kilometers. That's a waterway blasted and carved directly through that same rough and rocky terrain we were just talking about. The scale is just staggering.
But what's even crazier, the whole thing, this entire 202-kilometer system was built in just 5 years. And get this, they did it with basically nothing more than manual labor and the simplest tools. It's just an incredible testament to pure grit and brilliant engineering.
His impact was so huge, so immediate, that the little settlement that grew up at the center of the project, the city we all know now as Ottawa, Canada's capital, well, it was originally called Bytown, and it stayed that way for almost 30 years.
And this isn't just some local Canadian landmark. The Rideau Canal is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Let that sink in. It's on the same official list as the Pyramids of Egypt and the Great Wall of China. That's the league it's in. That's the level of historical importance we're talking about here.
But here's the kicker. It's not just a museum piece. It's the only North American canal from that entire period that's still in use today. Almost all of its original parts are still there, still working. It's a living, breathing monument to John By's genius.
Okay, so that solves the how you get around problem. Now for the second piece of the puzzle. Let's shift gears to our second titan, William Logan. While By was conquering the surface, Logan was obsessed with what was under it, uncovering the riches hidden just out of sight.
His big mission really kicks off in 1842 with the creation of the Geological Survey of Canada. Logan was its very first director, and he was given a pretty monumental job: create the first ever comprehensive geological map of the entire territory, basically to figure out what Canada was made of.
And it's amazing. This whole massive undertaking started with a tiny little grant of just 1,500 pounds. But as the country itself grew and expanded, so did the GSC's mission. And today, it's still a huge deal, a core part of Natural Resources Canada.
Now, people definitely noticed what Logan was doing. He was getting awards and medals left and right for his scientific work. He was even knighted by Queen Victoria herself in 1856. But for him, it wasn't about the fame. This was his life's work, period. He dedicated everything to the GSC. Okay, I'm going to throw a number at you. 5,959 meters. That's almost 6 kilometers, straight up. What in the world could that be? That is the height of Mount Logan. In what has to be the most fitting tribute ever, Canada named its highest, most massive peak after him. It's a permanent symbol of his towering influence on the nation.
So you've got the canal builder and the nation mapper, the guy who built the highway and the guy who drew the treasure map.
Now let's pull these two threads together and really see how they laid the foundation for the Canada we know today.
You can just see this perfect partnership, right? Bai's engineering built the pathways. He provided the how, the physical infrastructure to make trade and travel possible. But Logan's science provided the purpose. He gave them the why, the knowledge of what valuable resources were out there and where to find them. It's infrastructure and knowledge working hand in hand.
I mean, at the end of the day, you can't have one without the other. Think about it. What's the point of knowing there's coal or copper over there if you can't get to it? And why would you build a super expensive canal if you don't know it leads to anything valuable? It really is that simple. One built the route and the other mapped the ground. And that combination, that is what made modern Canada possible.
And all this kind of leaves you with one last big thought. Bai and Logan, they tackled the great physical challenges of their time, overcoming distance, discovering resources. So it makes you wonder, what are the monumental challenges of our time? The digital ones, the environmental ones, the social ones that will define the pioneers of today?